I'm here with Steve Berthiaume, who is entering his third season as the voice of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Steve, how's it been so far?
It's been great. I honestly can say I got the best job in the world, and where else would you rather be but here at the ballpark? So I get to do that every day, so I'm really lucky.
So when did this kind of become what you wanted to do being a sports broadcaster? Was it an early age? Did it kind of develop later on?
No, I think I was one of those lucky people that knew right away what he wanted to do when I was young. I was always fascinated watching sports on TV when I was growing up, and I grew up in the Boston area, and I went to Emerson College, which has a terrific broadcast journalism program. Went through that, got a bunch of jobs in local stations doing sports, and worked my way up. Went to CNN, went to ESPN. I was there for a long time. And when I was at ESPN, I did a lot of Baseball Tonight. And I would see my friends Tim Kirkchin and Buster Olney and Jason Stark and Jerry Krasnick and everybody get to go to the ballparks. And I thought, well, this is great, but I really want to be where they are. I want to be at the ballpark and get to do that. So the opportunity came up to do some games. I got to do that. And then the Diamondbacks job opened up, and they were great. They said, why don't you come on out and let's chat? And we did, and it clicked. And I'm really blessed. It's great. I got the best job in the world.
Yeah, and you don't typically see that. A lot of studio guys or anchors, they typically get in the studio and stay in the studio. So how have you been able to, has it been more of a challenge, or does it just come naturally to be able to make that transition?
Oh, no, it's a big challenge. It's definitely a transition. Most guys that I worked with at ESPN, when you're there a long time or after a reasonable period of time, you tend to look for other challenges or want to do other things than just sort of be in the grind of the day-to-day studio show, because it really can be a grind. But I was with guys who would do some studio stuff and some play-by-play. I worked a lot with Steve Levy, who did that, went to studio, went to play-by-play, then went back to the studio. And Charlie Steiner, I worked with Charlie when he was there doing SportsCenter. Now he's doing the Dodgers. And I worked with Mike Tirico, who now does such a great job doing so many national events. So it's been done before. I'm certainly no trailblazer, but it is a transition. It's a very different structure. It's a very different goal. You have a different style, or you have different objectives. So that's been fun to kind of play with and see what works and what doesn't, because you have to be prepared to have some stuff not work and throw that out and kind of get through that and then find sort of your sweet spot. And we're still working on that.
So in most major league ball clubs, there isn't a whole lot of turnover in the announcing position. So what was that transitional period like for you?
Well, the fans have been great. It's always tough to have a new guy come in, because that's what makes baseball play-by-play so great. It's 150, 162 games, and so you really do develop a relationship with your broadcaster. I know I did growing up when I was watching baseball. So there's the different thing that you kind of have to get through and let people get used to you, and especially coming in with a new analyst and working with Bob Brenly, they got a whole new team thrown at them. But Diamondback fans have been terrific. They've been really supportive, and I couldn't be happier with the reception. They've been great.
And you have do you have a favorite sports moment that you've either been to or actually called?
The very first game I ever did was the last day of the 2011 season, on that crazy wild card day when the season ended and all those walk-offs, and that maybe the most dramatic regular season day in baseball history. And I was doing the Tampa Bay Rays game with John Kruk for ESPN when Evan Longoria hit a walk-off home run and won the wild card for Tampa Bay. So that was the first game I ever did, and I got really lucky. It was a 7-0 game late, and Tampa Bay made a big comeback, and it was quite a ball game. And when I did that game, I knew that I was in. I was hooked. I went home and I said, okay, we got to figure out a new career plan, because I want to do this, and I got to figure out a way to make that happen. And thankfully, the Diamondbacks have helped, so that's been great.
Thank you, Steve. I appreciate your time, and I look forward to hearing you this season.
Thanks. My pleasure.